Spring. The birds are singing, the flowers are blooming, the sun warms the air. 4 frozen sodas just exploded in my truck. Welcome to Patience, Colorado. Sir, you Dr.
My name is Cyrus. I will tell you the truth. They don't want you to know we were already here. We made this world as an experiment, and you are our offspring. Become a believer in something out of this world from the ethers of the Creator, and now we have come to take it back. Ha 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 ha, oh dear.
Resident Alien Season 1 Recap and 2. In Patience, Colorado, a small town, where everyone knows everyone, it's very hard for anyone to keep a secret very long. A spaceship crashes in the middle of the night. An alien emerges. He looks for a place to hide, of course, and he thinks he has found a place in nearby cabin. Unknown to the man in the cabin, he has a guest who will extend his visit. The alien never wanted to land on Earth. It came on a mission, and his ship crashed on accident. After he arrives, he sneaks into a town doctor's home. Invading his space, he senses someone in his cabin on the lake. He shuts the door and a draft comes in. He has his póker from his fireplace to defend himself as he sees a weird shape. He is even more afraid as he turns around. He calls out, "Is there somebody in here?" No one answers. He looks around. The man turns around and he sees a reptilian big-eyed being walks toward him. The man screams. Of course, the human tries to kill the alien and he strikes him across the head, and the alien stands up taller and picks the man up like a toy and throws him down. He keeps fighting, and the alien has more than one pair hands. He has smaller hands in his belly, almost like a baby's compared to his other arms, and he chokes the man to death and throws him into the icy lake right under the town doctor's window, and he dies. The alien walks back in and evolves into the man, and he collapses. The alien has to learn to become human with little evidence to go by. He has to blend in as he has to find his ship and go back home. The alien learns to walk, and he learns to talk. He likes Law and Order. Clung clung clung. He sits and watches and learns from the show. Is it enough? We will see. The death of the town doctor Sam Hodges. The sheriff and his detective come to ask the doctor to come with them in town. They have a murder, and he is the only doctor in town qualified to help. The alien doesn't even know who he has become. He doesn't even have a name. He learns his name after he is told who he is as he was ice fishing on his boat. The town doctor died mysteriously. The alien comes to look over the body to determine the cause of death. He kneels down and said, "This is exorcising." And then Asta says, "What are talking about?" Then says, "It's like Law and Order." Clung clung. Of course the woman is confused. The deputy doesn't even notice. He gets up and tells the sheriff and his deputy and the physician's assistant, "I know who killed him." And they ask who, and Harry said he killed himself and leaves the room. The mayor hurries after Harry, and he informs that the murder is a big issue for this town of Patience. He must figure out what happened to Dr. Hodges. An autopsy has to be done immediately. He then explains that there is some severe weather that has snowed them in, so it is not safe to drive to a bigger city to request an autopsy. The mayor says, "Lucky for us, we have a pathology doctor in town." And Harry said, "Oh, don't call him." The mayor corrects him and says, "I looked it up, you went to Rutgers." Of course, while the alien calls humans dumb, he has not even looked up his own name and figured out who the doctor was. Of course, no one in town knew Harry, so he is just as alien as the alien. Asta is front and center for the autopsy, and this is Harry's first real interaction with a human woman alone. Asta tells Harry, "Now I need a drink. I'm going across the streets to the 59 for a drink." "Well, you can come over if you ever want to stop being a weirdo." Harry then thinks to himself, "Bish said I'm a weirdo, that's not good. Maybe I need to go over there and prove to them I'm like them. First I need to get Sam Hodges' brain and swish it between my fingers." Sam Hodges' wife walks in. She asks, "Do you know where Sam is? He hasn't come home yet." And then Harry says, "Oh, he's right here, of course. She had a fit. It is sad that the sheriff didn't tell her he was dead and allowed her to view her husband's body." Harry joins Asta at the 59 bar with her bestie Darcy, a wild, outspoken, fun-loving chick who grew up with Asta and remain friends till this day. Asta asks if he needed to be driven home. Of course she is on a bike, and she says, "Good night, Harry the doctor." Harry the doctor. Harry acts like he is going home as he waves goodbye to Asta. He's glad it is over. Stumbling and drunk, he then thinks to himself, "No one could tell I was different. I spent the whole day with him, and I fit right in. Almost nobody besides the mayor's son screamed when he saw him." Harry thinks to himself, the answer is simple. I'll just break into the boy's house and kill him. One thing about whiskey, it's allowing me to make smart decisions. Harry slides into the mayor's son's room. Undetected, the boy senses something, but he sees nothing. Then the aliens gets on top of him and covers his mouth, and he bites his hand and screams, and the aliens gets under the bed, and his parents don't believe Max. He tells his parents they will die. He leaves the Ruman looks back and the alien emerges under the boy's bed. Mad D. The alien flips him off with his sharp large middle finger and razor-sharp black white looking teeth. The sheriff is waiting for Harry, and he turns on his light and tells Harry he thought he never see him again. After you did what you did last night, Harry then admits, you know what I did last night. The deputy says you took Sam's body, and he says yeah, I took his body, and Asta walks up catching the end of the conversation and says what? Harry put the body under snow to keep it frozen overnight outside, unlike anything they have seen, but acceptable for the present time. They move on from that situation and see it as strange, but required to keep the body on ice. The surly girl walks up and she speaks to Asta, and Harry asks her what is that fly on your neck, and the girl gets upset and says it's a birthmark. Douchebag running away embarrassed and leaves upset. Harry's social skills are really bad, and he is mad. Strange. Asta scolds him about how he treated Jay. She works at the clinic, and it keeps her off the streets. Once she is done, Harry again confused about why she cares about this random girl said something weird again. Then he takes Asta to her house to pick her things from her ex's house. She gathers her items, but her ex Jimmy doesn't look happy. He thinks that Harry is her new man and is angry about he leaves and tells himself that Asta is in danger, but then he drives and knows he needs to finish his mission. Harry thinks to himself again, I need to be smart. I do not need to make any more stupid moves. I have to go back. He flips and turns around on a snowy icy road in the raggedy old truck on its last leg. He returns to the house. Harry hears Jimmy beating on Asta, and he grabs the man through the wall and almost kills him. Asta pleads to stop, and he does, and they drive off together. Asta asks, how did you do that? Can you tell me how you just dragged a 220-pound man through a wall? I was always an outsider. You're just different. I know what that feels like. Being human is aliens to me. And Harry agrees. Then he asks, why did you marry that guy? And Asta tells Harry she was 16 and pregnant, and she gave the baby up for adoption, and he would remind her she did the right thing. She then said, if I left him, I gave the baby up for nothing. 4 months ago I got tired of it, and I got in my truck and left and never came back. It is sad because Asta seems like a good woman. Why does she deserve to be hurt? She explains a little to Harry, and he tries to understand her, but it's clear he doesn't about Jimmy, but he understands what it is to be an outsider. The mayor meets Harry at the funeral, and he tells him he needs to talk to him. He had a therapy meeting with Sam every week to talk about his wife Katie, and he leaves, and Asta appears. He then goes to Sam's casket during the funeral, and flings open the casket, and tells Asta that it has to be now, and smells him and closes it as his wife cries, and he tells her as they walked away that he was trying to get air. He was poisoned, and one of the murdered Sam is here now.
Explosion is a good option. It looks like an accident.
It's better being a kid.
Sometimes. Can you be quiet? I am trying to be a doctor.
It's Sam's office. He just died, and it's a crime scene.
Solid alibi. She wasn't even in town the night that he died. And I already took care of Sam's office. I got prints, I got photographs, I got everything. You need to stay in your lane.
Is it possible that when I took on the human molecular structure, I somehow was infected with their emotions? Or is it just...
You're a 12.
How did you know?
Oh, because Darcy only dates size 12s. Real fast.
All right.
When's the snow melt? On the mountain?
Ooh, it would depend on the weather. I had a tip bib compound fracture. They said I could have lost my leg. Or even died.
There are 10 things on here that are going to kill him sooner than eating bad food does.
Harry.
Little guy fell on his bike in the driveway. He's gonna need stitches.
We get a lot of failed brick accidents.